Then here we go.
This is the Nerdy Things Podcast. This podcast contains strong language, adult themes, and poorly developed ideas. We apologize for nothing. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 59 of the Nerdy Things Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Kevin. I am joined, as always, by Jules. Hey, Jules.
Heyo.
And by Tim. What's going on, Tim?
Well, my computer's not falling apart like yours, apparently.
No, not the computer, just the camera, the stand
All
that
right.
is on, everything about that. But that's fine. We're good.
For those of you watching, not watching on YouTube, we were just doing the intro, and all of a sudden, Kevin's like falling over.
Yeah, if anything, go to the YouTube channel just for that. But you guys, okay. Tim,
Yes.
I think you're interested in this. Kevin, you probably don't care, as I don't care. March Madness is happening. There's a Final Four, apparently, but I don't really care about that. It's happening in my city, in San Antonio.
Ooh,
Oh, nice.
amazing.
Means we get a
Much
bunch
traffic.
of free concerts. Yeah, we get a bunch of traffic and road closures. And the cool thing about San Antonio is that they can shut down the entire downtown area and it won't affect me at all. And it won't affect a lot of people because it is just so large of a city, which is like 5 of your cities. But so going around internet, I don't care about the Final Four bracket. Everybody has their own brackets, whatever. But there's a Disney bracket, Disney and Pixar bracket that's been going around. And I had The Lion King and Up at the end. And I think I'm going to go with Up on the Disney bracket. That's where it was. That's where it was for me, guys.
Really? Up, huh?
I love Up. The music, the sadness. Every time I watch
know,
it.
man.
Music it up.
I don't know, man. I think I might have to go Moana.
Well, okay, that was a good one.
I've never even seen Moana. The only
It's really
problem,
good.
the only problem I had is you had, what was it, Aladdin, The Little Mermaid, and Beauty and the Beast were all in the same region. Those are
Yeah.
like Final Four contenders. That should be 3/4 of your Final Four. They shouldn't be all in the same region. Those are one seeds, baby. Put them
The
in
seeds
separate
were a little
spots.
messed up with this, but that's all right. That's all right.
Yeah, some random dude made this as a joke, and then it went viral because of his picks. I think he picked like Cars over Coco or something, and then everybody just went with it and blew him up. It was just crazy. But if you want to go see that, just look up Disney Pixar bracket, and you can play along with us. But I said I was going with Up. Kevin, you said Moana, and Tim.
I don't know, but you know what I'd love to see?
What?
You guys know who Dick Vitale is, right?
Yeah.
Famous college basketball guys, crazy voice. I'd love to see Dick Vitale talking about the Disney bracket. He'd be like, oh, we got the veteran, baby. We got Beauty and the Beast back from the 80s. Go to the Final Four. And then your diaper dandy, Moana, coming up out of nowhere. This guy says it's up. What a bracket buster. Amazing, baby.
That'd be great.
Okay.
And then
Wow.
everybody started making their own brackets and stuff. And I was trying to figure out how to make a Nerdy Things bracket, but couldn't figure it out. So there you go. It's over. It's done this week. So it doesn't matter.
It's too late. Next year.
Next year, we'll have a March Madness for favorite episode. We'll put all of our episodes on a bracket. All 100 by then.
You know what? We'll mix it up. We'll do November nerdiness or something. We'll figure it out.
Oh, okay. I dig it.
I like that.
Don't forget, you can reach us on most social media at Nerdy Things Pod. That's Nerdy Things Pod. You can send us an email at nerdythingspod@gmail.com. You can visit our website, nerdythingspod.com, for the latest nerdy news, updated daily, and links to our merch for shirts and more. This week, Kevin, drop the load right now. Today, we're releasing new new logos.
Load.
Yeah, drop the cargo. Drop it. Drop the
load.
Drop
Kevin,
the load.
drop the load now.
Tim,
drop the
it's
load.
what kids say. Come
Don't
on.
wait until you get into the bathroom. Drop the load now.
We have new logos. I'm deeming it the Wi-Fi minimalist collection. We have 3 new shirts, hoodie, whatever, anything you want. It's all there. 3 new logos.
It's for spring. It's the new look. We've got
it's
the
the
Wi-Fi
new-
minimalist collection
Yeah.
coming your way.
I'm
Go
going with collections
Public
now. That's
Collection.
That's
There you
what
go.
Nerdy Things
sells,
Pod.
Tim. That's what
What the
sells.
spring line has in store.
So if you want to go see my my spring line, go check it out. nerdythingspod.com. You just got to click the little thingy that says merch, and then it'll take you to the merch. It'll also take you. We have links to YouTube to watch the podcast. We have the podcast episodes in video. We do this in video on YouTube. You can watch all the episodes there. Our Patreon for extra content like bloopers and early access to our stuff. Our Patreon, we're releasing a whole lot more stuff on our Patreon for patrons, which is awesome. And we have the episode early for everybody. You get first looks at the main topic of the week, all that stuff over on our Patreon. And you can text us or leave us a voicemail at 978-78-NERDY, and that's 978-786-3739. You can do all that good stuff. And we have a iTunes review. If anything, you can leave us an iTunes review, and we'll read them on the show. And some of these are pretty funny, like this one. This was by Berserker Guy, and the title is "Tired of Being Shoved in Lockers." His comment reads, he gave us a 5-star. I work at a high school as a professional nerd. To stop bullying, they have nerdy adults that are willing to be bullied by punk kids so the nerdy kids can have a healthy high school experience. I pass this time inside the lockers by listening to this fantastic show. So we're saving lives out there, I think.
You know what? That's right. And there's work for us out there if this falls through.
Whatever that was, give it a 5 stars.
Weird. If it's not true, I give it 10 for creativity. If it's true, I have a problem with this. I don't think I agree with this method of parenting, child rearing. I don't know what this is.
What's the hourly rate? Because
that's an important question. That's an important question. We also have a voicemail this week.
What?
Yeah, I know. Here we go.
Hi, nerdy guys. I might be familiar. I was the voicemail that didn't leave her name, and I don't know if I want to, but I'm calling because I heard the podcast the day after at work, and I didn't see Tomb Raider, and I didn't plan on it because just watching the trailer, I could see it was heavily CGI'd, and it just looked like it took straight from the reboot game, the first one. And just hearing you guys talk about it, it was true, but it seems like they changed a lot of major aspects of it to where in the game, I played the game, and in the major aspects, she learns to survive. Laura learns to survive on her own against people that want to kill her, that want to name her, that just, they want to kill her. So she learns to survive. And what kept them at the island was because, yes, it was a supernatural force. Himiko was a deity in the game. She kept the island cursed, and no one could find it. The thing about the game that it sounds like they changed was the crew. The whole reason they were going is because in the game, one of the crew members is a direct descendant of that deity. And they were trying to find the island that held her ancestry line. Can't talk today. It just sounded like it didn't. It doesn't sound like it was worth watching in theaters, and I'm glad I didn't go. So thank you guys.
Sounds like the game's better than the movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't think Jules will like me after this because my Spider-Man is Andrew Garfield.
What?
It's like my Bane is
Yeah.
Tom Hardy, and my Catwoman is Halle Berry.
What? Yeah.
Bye.
No.
Yeah. Tousle
No.
hair. That's
Why
the
did-
guy.
Why did she just throw those wrenches into at the end? It's like,
Seriously.
by the way, I like this
That was
person, this person. So wait, you don't want to say your name? Are you ashamed of listening to us?
Oh, no. Maybe
Oh,
she's ashamed of her name.
Oh,
Maybe
what if
maybe
really
it's something
bad?
weird.
Maybe
I
it's
don't know.
drop the load or something like that.
Well, your name's Garfield because you like Andrew Garfield. So thank you, G lady or person. Thank you for the voicemail. That's really awesome. And yeah, we talked a lot about it in the Tomb Raider, but it had none of that. And they tried to show her surviving by that one brutal kill, and it was just like, oh, we're
This is the nerdy thing. This is the
Sorry. Go ahead.
Was that my like already wrap it up music?
No,
yeah, you
I
were
hit a
getting
button
played
twice.
off like the award show speech.
I hit a button twice. That was my fault.
Okay.
Go on.
Well, now you have to leave it in. Okay. So yeah, they try to show it all in that one brutal kill, and it did show a lot in that brutal kill with in the Tomb Raider movie, but it was just not enough, and not like the video game. None of that backstory with people, none of that, and it was just really condensed. And
We gave enough talk to that
Yeah.
movie last week.
That's all.
It
Yeah.
probably deserved.
Exactly. Listen
So
to 'em.
guys, what nerdy stuff did you do this week?
oh boy,
Oh boy. Let me see. What did I do this week? So much. I don't even know. Cool. Start. I'll come up with mine.
sure. So I had like a Guillermo del Toro, I don't know, week, I guess, because I watched Shape of Water for the first time. It is very good, and I like the green aesthetic. It was very different, not what I thought it would be, and I really enjoyed that movie. And then, like a couple days later, I watched Pacific Rim, the very first one again, and then I immediately watched the Pacific Rim Uprising. So I had just a bunch of big movies and a lot of Del Toro for the week.
Well, there you go. I made a schedule for the Avengers movies so I can watch all, 18 of them now, leading up to Infinity War. So my wife and I are going to embark on that starting tonight, and it's going to be a
Wow.
mess.
Tim?
So I actually did a lot of nerdy stuff this week, and it's so weird. It's like I left the house, I went back to work, and all of a sudden nerdy things started happening. Even though out of the 4 things on my list, 3 of them happened in my house. It was just like magically once the ball got rolling, things started happening. So one, I discovered John Mulaney stand-up. You guys know who
Yeah.
John Mulaney is?
Yes.
Yeah, he looks just like the guy that plays the Flash.
Huh?
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
yeah, he does.
He does.
Does
he looks
he?
just like not Ezra Miller, but the one on
Oh.
Grant Gustin, the one on
Nah,
okay.
John Mulaney is
Spitting Image.
hilarious.
John
Yeah.
Mulaney is hilarious. Like I knew he
Yes,
was
he
a
is.
writer for SNL, and I knew he
Yep.
had this failed TV show that I didn't watch. But his stand-up,
Oh yeah.
he's the exact same age as me. August 1982. So that's probably the biggest thing. And he reminds me a lot of myself. So it's probably the most relatable humor. Like he's up there doing that. I'm like, I could see myself doing that stand-up that you're doing right now. So John Mulaney's awesome. 2 specials on Netflix, both really cool. I watched Harry Potter, the last one, for the
The
first
last one.
very long time.
That's what it's
The
called.
very, part 2, Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Mhm.
I haven't watched that in a long time, and I'm an emotional person. I'm a crier. I cry when it's good stuff. I cry when it's bad stuff. I cry, but was watching this scene where Harry comes back and confronts Snape in the Great Hall in front of everybody. And I don't know if it's because this is the first time I've watched it
Oh no.
since Alan Rickman died or whatever.
Oh no.
But the looks on his face, like when Harry's telling him how horrible a person is, and you can see on the inside how he's like, if you only knew, and he's so hurt. And then when he has to fight McGonagall, and he gives her this look like, oh no, I know. And he's just doing everything to be as defensive as possible, but not it break the cover. Heartbreaking. I was tearing up on the inside. It was something. Saw the Solo trailer and the Jurassic World trailer in 3D.
Nice.
Wow.
If you haven't seen those in 3D,
You're
not excited enough for these movies yet. So
They are not
do
the
that.
most anticipated movies of your lifetime.
They're up there.
Probably not, but they're anticipated. Let's say that.
Oh, I
Okay.
I just got a shirt idea.
Oh
Okay.
Oh
no.
no.
Here we go.
All right.
Oh,
So the
boy.
last one, you're gonna have to indulge me for a minute because this is kind of a big one for me. So
Go on.
favorite band of all time is the Bare Naked Ladies.
Okay.
If you're not familiar with the Bare Naked Ladies body of work and you just think they're the band that did 1 week, go and stop listening to us right now. Stop right now.
It's
Go.
been 1 week since I've listened to them, so
If
yeah.
you're listening to us on Spotify, just go to the search bar, Bare Naked Ladies, first 4 or 5 albums. It's fantastic. So they're not just a bunch of rapping white guys. They're actually tremendous musicians and really great song crafters that just don't take themselves too seriously. They have all these funny joke songs that they became famous for, like One Week, If I Had $1 Million, Be My Yoko Ono, but they have powerful, big ballads, and they have intimate, really emotional songs, and a big variety. And their first 4 albums, the 3 that were released before Stunt, mostly popular in Canada, which is where they're from, are masterpieces. So you should listen. This is a band that in 1989 sold 100,000 cassettes and got an indie music scene going in Canada. They're way bigger than we think they are, especially up in their homeland. So after 30 years, they were inducted into the Canadian Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which was part of the Junos, which is the Canadian Grammys.
Whoa.
The reason why this is such a big deal is because 10 years ago, the co-creator, co-lead singer of the band, Stephen Page, who was my favorite of the songwriters, their lead vocalist, he left. And it was heartbreaking. I saw them live like 49 times. Didn't get to make it to 50. It was devastating. I skipped a show 3 months before because I'm like, oh, I'll see him again. Didn't get to see him again. Since then, I've met Steve. That was fun. Seen him perform a couple of times. But it was heartbreaking, and I've never gotten over it. I don't know if you can sense this in my voice.
Yeah.
And he and Ed were friends. That's how the band started. They were friends, and they haven't spoken in 10 years until they performed together on stage at the Junos Sunday night. And it was everything I wanted it to be. Well, it wasn't, because it was just 2 songs.
Because you weren't there.
And they even had people,
the reason they got together.
Yeah, because they had famous Canadian bands like joining them up there, messing up words to If I Had $1 Million. But it was cool. And they talked and they had rehearsals together, and they gave interviews separately where they said they were texting, and they took pictures backstage. And maybe, I know Steven's happy with what he's doing. I know the ladies are happy with what they're doing. I know that they're in their own specific creative place, but I think maybe, just maybe, for us fans, it paved the way for potentially a reunion of some sort, a tour, something. I don't know. But for me, one of the coolest things that's happened to me in a long time. I mean, I had a baby, but outside of that,
Right.
Seeing Stephen Page and Ed Robertson and the Bare Naked Ladies back up there together, even Andy Cregan joining, was a treat. If any of you have interest in learning about the Bare Naked Ladies, contact Tim Super on Twitter. DM me. We will nerd out about the Bare Naked Ladies because they're the ultimate nerdy band. I will tell you what to listen to, when to listen to it, how to get into them, and in the end, you'll be like, wow, how have I not known about them for 30 years?
Oh, God.
Wow. So this proves you can nerd out about pretty much anything. And there you go. Bare Naked Ladies, Tim's nerdy segment. So we always do this. We go into the nerdy news, and then we talk about main topic. Pacific Rim Uprising is the main topic. Right now, we're going to get into nerdy news.
Nerdy news.
At 6 o'clock. So we were just talking Bare Naked Ladies, the Canadian band. You know who else is Canadian? Deadpool.
Whoa.
Deadpool trailer 2, or the official trailer for Deadpool 2, just dropped, and it's amazing. This isn't the teaser trailer. This isn't, the one we got before. This is an official full trailer. I cannot wait for this movie. I can't wait. This is not the most anticipated movie of my life, but it is close.
It's so good.
Deadpool always should have been. He is violent. He is irreverent. He talks to the camera, and he is just such an asshole. I love it. And it's got Terry Crews in it. How wrong with that?
And they keep giving away more jokes every time there's a little trailer, and there's just more jokes to keep giving away. These trailers are peppered with funny humor.
I'm pretty sure it's just Ryan Reynolds doing some voiceover, because that's kind of how it was in whenever the first one came out. Like they would just be like, all right, just go into a booth real quick, record some funny shit, and then we'll put it over the trailer. Because like a lot of the first trailers, some of the jokes weren't in the movies. They were like trailer oriented. Yep. And it was just like really, so I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing. He's just making a lot more content, and I'm sure he's okay with that. I'm sure he's like, yeah, I'll do whatever. Just, oh, you have a trailer coming out, this is what it looks like. I'll talk over it and see what comes out. And I'm
Yeah,
pretty
he's
sure
the
that's
reason
what it
these
is.
are so good.
Oh yeah.
He's the push behind this. And
Yeah.
you know what? Unrelated, and I didn't put this in the notes, but I was reading something earlier about how someone who is one of the actors on the Marvel movies, I believe it was the guy that plays Vision, Paul Bettany, was saying that the reason that Marvel's movies are so good is the reason we have been saying all along. It's that they're made by fans. And I feel like that is exactly what's going on with Deadpool as well.
So
So he
100%.
listened to the podcast. Is that what you're saying? He
Yes.
listened to our podcast.
Yep.
Oh.
That's exactly right.
That's 100% what makes Deadpool great, because nobody wanted to make Deadpool except for Ryan Reynolds and
Yes.
the director of the movie, or the first one. They had to. Do you know the story about how they got James Cameron to read the script?
No, I haven't heard
So
that.
they had been pitching the script, or a rough idea of the script, for years, and getting really close, but no one funding it. And somebody knew James Cameron, sent him the script. He read it over a weekend and said, "This is amazing. Let me make some phone calls,"
That's
because
awesome.
he's, the guy.
He's-
So James Cameron is a big reason why Deadpool happened, because he read the script, said it's great, and he carries so much clout that he's like, yeah, I can help you out with this.
That's
So yeah,
amazing.
Ryan Reynolds gets his first writing credit ever on this one too, and you can obviously see that humor in there. But when I'm watching the beginning of the trailer, I'm having flashbacks to Van Wilder. You've got Ryan Reynolds with an Indian-born or an Indian sidekick, and Air Supply is playing in the background. I don't know if you remember when he's playing Air Supply after the breakup. I'm so out of love. So yeah, I don't know what it is with him and Indian sidekicks or Pakistani sidekicks. I don't know which one this guy is, and Air Supply, but
Yep.
that's a thing for him that he finds humorous in his own situation. So there you go.
That is pretty fun. There's a
So-
lot of Easter eggs in this. Apparently, there's Jules, are you going to say the sisterhood one? Or
No, I wasn't. No.
there's a joke in there about the sisterhood of the traveling pants too,
Oh, I think so.
because Ryan Reynolds' wife was in that
Yeah.
movie, and so it's a whole big thing there. Oh, just too much fun.
Yeah, so much gore, blood. Not so much gore yet, but there was like so much blood. I was like, oh god, he just chopped. Okay, and I was like, wow, this is intense. This is an intense trailer already. I love it, and I love the sly. We got to get a team young enough to carry the franchise for 8 to 10 years.
And I just love the thought of Josh Brolin as Cable, like that stoic, like no fucking around, to go with Deadpool. That's just, they're gonna play off each other so well, you know.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that one. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I love at the end how they had that whole banter about why would you make a third one when the second one was so good. I don't even know what the context of what they're talking about, but it's just stuff
Just
like that is what makes the humor in
Just stop
these
it.
movies so good.
Oh yeah, every time. Another sequel we're getting, or another movie in a franchise rather, is going to be the Captain Marvel movie, which is coming out in 2019. They have announced that they are adding Clark Gregg, who plays Coulson, and Lee Pace, who we may know as Ronan the Accuser, who is a member of the Kree race, which is the same race where Captain Marvel gets her powers from. So this is a prequel movie set in the 90s. So Clark Gregg makes some sense. He's going to be perhaps tangentially related. There's a line in Avengers about how this isn't his first superhero rodeo or something like that. So that's kind of neat. Like, I'm happy to bring him back in some way that makes sense, because I loved that character.
They just won't let him die, huh? They just don't want to see him go. Nobody wants to see him go. But yeah,
he's one of those guys who tests really well. The audience loves him, so they have to find ways to bring him back.
His face is charming. He's just like, oh, well, all right. Yeah. But this is going to be probably his first run in. It's going to be Nick Fury's first superhero that he's ever met. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this goes, because they did say that Nick Fury was going to be in this as well.
There's also, because this is probably going to be a precursor to the Kree-Skrull war, and we're going to see some Skrulls coming up in the Marvel movies from here on.
Yay.
There was also a Skrull Easter egg recently found in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I think it was the first one, when you have the cameo with Stan Lee. Next to his head, floating in the text that you see, is the word Excelsior, which is his catchphrase, written in Skrull. So, I mean, how people know this is beyond me.
Who's watching these movies frame by frame?
Well, I mean, I would, but that's just amazing.
Who's watching these movies that knows the written language of Skrull?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's
the better
actually
question.
that's Kevin. If he didn't have the podcast, he would just
It is.
he would have been already gone through
Well,
all of them.
I mean, honestly, just to show how nerdy I am, another character that's confirmed for Captain Marvel is the actor Jimon Honsu, who plays the guy that Star-Lord encounters at the beginning of Guardians. And he goes, I'm Star-Lord. And he just goes, who? That guy. I love him. He
Yes.
was also in the Stargate movie. He is just like the best
Wow.
1 second actor I've ever seen. He's mildly in everything I'm a fan of.
That's a great thing to put on a resume. I'm mildly.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, what do you do? What's your thing?
I played Horus in the Stargate movie. Oh yeah. How long were you on screen? 3 seconds.
I'm the best 1 second actor you could ask for. You want an impact in 1 second? I'm your guy.
You want someone to go, who? That's me.
That'd be great. Just, yeah. But superheroes, speaking of superheroes, we got some new Marvel posters for Avengers Infinity War, and they look kind of beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Did
I
they
was trying
steal
to
them?
yes. They stole the colors. All of those are primary colors.
What?
You can't
Actually,
use their copyright.
But that's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know they're not. It just came out. It just came out. But they're all colored. All the different posters are colored differently. If you haven't seen them, they're on Twitter and on our Twitter at NerdyThingsPod. But they are colored differently as each of the different Infinity Gemstones. And what are they? Gemstones? Stones?
Infinity Stones.
Stones, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're all colored after
Gemstones.
that, and then they have gemstones. They're all the Marvel superheroes are there on each one. They're looking good. And where's Hawkeye? That's the question.
Well, he's retired. In the comics that come as the sequel, he just tenders his resignation to Cap and goes to his family. We'll see him in the next one when everybody's dead and he has to bring him back.
I thought he was playing tag.
Yeah, right? He is with
Yeah.
John Hamm. We established that last week.
Can you so imagine if Hawkeye was playing tag? Would he be allowed to use his arrows? Could he have like an arrow with just like a little fuzzy ball on the end of it, or like a suction cup where he could tag you long distance? Would that count in the game?
I think only if it was tied to him by a string still. So he could do it.
Ooh, okay.
But it would have to be connected to him to count. Otherwise, that doesn't.
Yeah, these look fantastic. I don't know if I can get any more hyped. This is just the icing on the cake, having these little posters with all the characters. It's just great, and I'm just ready.
Yes, I am ready as well. And you know what else I'm ready for?
Don't
I'm
say
ready
it.
for John Cena to beat
Don't
Duke
say it.
Nukem. I think this is the most perfect casting ever. John Cena is Duke Nukem. They announced that as long as he likes the script, they're going ahead with it. They're going to be looking for writers. But come on, I just want John Cena just to turn to the camera and say that he is going to rip off someone's neck and shit down their throat, because that is Duke Nukem to me.
Is Jules frozen?
Jules is frozen.
He is frozen.
Jules
This
died.
is the greatest image ever. Oh, this is fantastic.
I
We are going
believe
to
we
use
have
this for
disconnected Jules.
something. What were we talking about?
We were talking about John
Cena.
John Cena?
Dun, 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 dun.
Duke Nukem?
Oh, you were saying
Dude,
you wanted to
he-
rip his head off and take a dump.
I can't
No.
wait for John Cena to
Drop
say
your
that.
drop your load down his drop
He's
a
gonna-
load.
yeah. That was my favorite thing in the Duke Nukem video game, was when he twists that monster's neck off, drops his pants, and actually sits on the hole of his throat. I don't know why. I was young and impressionable. It was a formative moment in my life.
Wow.
This explains a lot.
It does. No, it really does. Like,
He's been doing a lot of really good acting on WWE, because I've been watching wrestling a lot more,
oh no.
and he's doing a whole storyline, and I can get behind it. And even though it's like, he's supposed to be this character of Duke Nukem, I'm totally okay with it. He has the muscles, he has like the look.
He
I mean,
does.
he
He
should be
has the
fine.
look. Dye his hair, give him some sunglasses. You're done. You don't even have to put a shirt on him.
No shirt Cena.
Mm-mm.
You can't see him anyways, so
This is me not caring.
Well,
This is the face. Go to YouTube. This is the face of a guy who doesn't care.
do you care
Oh,
that
God.
MoviePass just dropped its prices again?
Does it affect me?
Oh man,
No, it doesn't. That's why I'm
it
asking.
Then
doesn't
no.
affect you at all.
How can I get in on this? Like seriously, is
I
there a
don't.
way?
I don't know. I
You
really
buy a new one right now, and then you cancel your old one. That's
Yeah,
probably
is
the
that what
only
I
way.
have to do?
Yeah, I don't. I'm not
Probably.
really. Yeah.
Or can
try
I
it.
just
Let us know how
can
that
I
works.
can I call customer service? Hold on.
You're gonna call customer service
You're
now?
calling
Please
them right now.
don't call them right now. Don't.
Grade A content.
Oh God.
Oh man, I
Okay,
hope you can hear this storm.
I'm on hold. Go ahead. I'll
Uh,
do it when I'm done.
Okay. Do 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 do
do,
do
do,
do
do,
do.
do, 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 do. Yeah, Tim, we can
But
see your phone. You're not on hold.
Wait, I gotta take this.
This is like a TV
I gotta take this.
on TV when they do the phone, and it's like, no, that's the recording app. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't.
your phone is on the home screen.
Yeah,
It's not a
seriously.
phone call.
Yeah, I don't know what you just dialed, but
For $3 a month, I'm not sure that being
No.
on hold for 15 minutes is even worth my time.
it's not worth. It is not. Absolutely not. Do you think it's going to be worth your time to get YouTube Red because of the new Cobra Kai trailer? Though,
So
Tim,
torn on this. So torn on this. Oh. I don't know what to do. I don't want to buy another streaming service. I don't want to subscribe to YouTube Red specifically for whatever reason. I think it's because they advertise too much / their YouTube
they're in your
video
face.
content for
Yeah.
free is their thing. I don't want to pay for it, but I saw the trailer for Cobra Kai and I actually like the premise.
So
We
I think
speculated for a while what it was going to be about. Now we know it. I like it. I dig it. I'm into it.
I
I dig it. It's super awesome.
I mean, I really do think that this is the one way it could go that I would love it. Like the roles are reversed. They're still both jerks, but I kind of identify with, Billy Zabka. So I'm in. Like I want him to succeed. I don't think he's
Can y'all give me a second?
dick.
One second.
Well, hold on a second.
Go over there. Go.
Something happened with
My dogs are really scared.
Oh, I thought he was being
Jesus
mugged.
Christ.
Sorry,
Come on.
my headphone cut out for a second. I have no idea what Kevin just said.
Go over there. Go over there. I know Kevin would not like that audio if I left the dogs with me. They were just like clawing everywhere. So this is gonna be good. I'm gonna have to wait until the whole show comes out and then get a YouTube Red subscription and see what else is on there. I know there's some other stuff from Rooster Teeth, the two movies they put out that I could watch that I haven't watched yet.
The
that are
first
on
one was
YouTube Red.
amazing.
Really? Okay, that's good.
Yeah. Laser
the second
Team.
one.
I think it was.
Yeah, there you go. Laser
Yeah,
Team. Laser Team
I cannot wait to see the second one. So I am going to be getting YouTube Red at some point. I think the future of television is going to be subscribing for a month and binging the shit out of it and then canceling and then going to the next one. You're going to do that with CBS. You're going to do that with YouTube Red. I think people are going to start doing that more with Netflix and things because I just think that's the future.
I love that they went gritty with this trailer. It's not like Mr. Miyagi having a few too many and, being kind of almost, it was very emotional, but almost like cartoon drunk. You know what I mean? Johnny Lawrence is on the ground, passed out with freaking alcohol around him. This is David Hasselhoff eating a cheeseburger on the floor. Okay,
I'm pretty sure he was huffing paint.
It's possible.
Yeah, that's what it was.
This dude has hit rock bottom. After he lost the karate match, he went downhill. Okay, somebody swept his leg. He was down, never got back up. Meanwhile, Daniel LaRusso, all the confidence that he gained from learning good karate and good sportsmanship and all that kind of stuff led him to a great career as a car dealership spokesman, owner, whatever. And I like that these guys are getting back into it. I don't know who's the good guy and who's the bad guy, though.
I don't.
Because they imply that LaRusso becomes kind of a jerk. So if he becomes kind of an arrogant jerk and we don't want to root for him, are we going to root for the drunk who's teaching kids to sweep the leg and show no mercy? I mean, what's happening?
He's giving these kids the ability to be bullies at their school. Like that kid murdered the other kid at school.
Yeah.
So I don't know that there's a good guy in this.
Right? I'm very
it's super ambiguous. I really dig it.
I love it. It was a great trailer because it gave us, I think, everything we wanted and nothing that we needed to actually know what's going on. So this is great.
Oh yeah. No, I agree with that completely, but I am excited for that. I cannot wait for that. The other thing I can't wait for, Alex Inc., the Zach Braff show about the podcast studio, that actually airs tonight, Wednesday. So I got to record that. I got to find a way to watch that because I'm intrigued.
Sure. Where's it airing?
It's on what is it? ABC? Yeah, ABC tonight.
ABC. Okay. Yeah. So with Alex Inc., that's the one we talked about. It's about Gimlet Creative, Gimlet Inc., and all that stuff. He started. It's about a podcast about starting a podcast.
Yep.
A TV show about starting a podcast?
Show about starting a TV show about starting a podcast about starting a podcast.
About starting a TV show about a TV show about starting a podcast about starting a podcast. I tell you what, I don't know, but ABC's promoting the heck out of it, and I'm almost kind of annoyed and don't want to watch it because of how much they're promoting it.
Yeah, well, this is the TV show based on, I think, Start Up the Podcast, which was the podcast based on starting the podcast network. So it is several levels of Inception down. And I do think we've lost Jules again.
Podcasting Inception. It's tough to say because he can't be frozen. There's no screen.
He is. He's frozen. You can tell because that pixel hasn't moved.
Oh, good call. Oh, and he's gone.
This is not at all frustrating.
Nope. With the one day we have a deadline,
I know.
and we're doing 2 shows. And so what are we talking about?
So we were done with John Cena. John Cena's over. We were into Alex Inc.
Right.
Alex Inc. is tonight. I'm gonna watch that. That's on ABC.
Over promoted.
Yeah. The other thing I watched this week that I think is more comic books is the Power Rangers Shattered Grid trailer. Jules,
this is what I wanted to talk about. Yes. So Power Rangers Shattered Grid, it was a comic series. It's a storyline, something like, how Marvel and DC have their own storylines. Well, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers had like sort of a reboot not too long ago, and they're still going and still a whole thing. And now they started in 2018 this storyline called Shattered Grid. So Shattered Grid is about Lord Drakon. I'm not too sure how to say it, but it is an alternate universe.
Wow,
so basically, this alternate universe Tommy, he, whenever he was not under Rita Repulsa's control, he still wanted to work with her. Took that alternate route to even say, like, what if they just kept going down that dark path, and he just kept going down that dark path, and he became sort of like a god. In his universe, he kills off their version of Jason, and he takes the white lion. What is it called? I don't know what it's called. The white lion Zord, the white power that made him the White Ranger.
Tiger Zord.
There you go, White Tiger Zord. That he took that power, fused it with the green, and he made his own, like, it's a badass new uniform. It's a combination of these powers. And in his universe, he's a god, and he's just trying to wipe out or shatter the morphing grid, which would
really cool.
Which would make all other Mighty Morphin Power Rangers throughout all the alternate universes obsolete, because the morphing grid is where they draw their power and all that stuff. So basically, we're going to see a ton of Power Rangers and a ton of stuff that different uniforms, different costumes, all that stuff from a ton of Power Ranger stuff that we've seen throughout the ages coming together to try and stop Lord Drakon. And that's the storyline for the comic. And Jason David Frank liked it so much, he thought, why not let's just get a live action of it. So they put out a trailer it looks real. It's posed as real.
I'm not gonna lie, that looks really freaking cool. Like, I would watch that movie. It looks like it's on par for quality with the other Power Rangers movie, and it was just thrown together on nothing.
Sure, yeah, and it has Jason David Frank, has that new suit, it has some storylines to kind of get you hooked into it, and not a whole lot of, whatever they're going to show, but it looks really cool. And he liked it so much. It's like, why not? Let's just get a Shattered Grid something going movie.
Yeah.
This is what the Power Ranger movie should have been. But
That's
yeah,
right.
that's what that is. It's pretty cool.
It's really cool. All right, so I think that's about enough of the news with all the technical difficulties we've had this week with Jules. Let's get to the main topic. What do you guys say? You guys in for that?
I just saw news stories disappear before my eyes.
Yeah, I'm the best. I deleted them out of the
Not
notes.
important.
So this week, the main topic is Pacific Rim Uprising, the sequel to the Guillermo del Toro movie about kaiju and monsters and robots and people, and it happened. So we're going to talk about it this week. I'm assuming you both saw it.
Yeah.
Glowing review already.
Right. I kind of want to just go into, past the first movie. We usually do a non-spoiler talk at the beginning.
Yep.
Let's set it up. So the kaiju are the monsters that have opened a portal into this world, and during the first movie they shut it down. During the Pacific Rim movie, the Guillermo del Toro movie. First, I want to say that I really liked the first movie. We haven't talked about Pacific Rim at all, I don't think, but I really love Pacific Rim. And I didn't want to watch the second one because I wanted that story to end for me. I wanted my narrative of everything that happened to end at that. The world's saved. Yay. It's all done. That's where I wanted it to end for me.
I totally get that, because what the first movie did well was it left questions that you don't necessarily need the answer to.
No.
And you can kind of just let it be. Like we saw at the end of the first one that they go through the portal to the other world, and you meet the precursor aliens that are creating these kaiju, and we explode them. Was that the only group of them? Are they ever going to come back? We don't know. Why are they doing this? We're not 100% sure. And this movie had to kind of answer some of those questions, or at least should have.
I thought the first one was pretty good. I watched it in the theater, and that's the only time I watched it. And for me, the way I watch movies, if that's the only time I watched it, and it was like 4 years ago, that's not the sign that I felt too great about it. And it even had Jax Teller in it. And I like to watch things with Jax Teller in it.
It had Idris Elba in it. How do you go wrong?
That's true too. Right. But that movie, like this one, really, one of the things that I think deters me is it just, the whole time I'm watching it, it makes me angry that it's not Voltron.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I mean, no.
It even form Blazing Sword. Come on. They do the Voltron stuff. It should be Voltron. Voltron's a better story. Voltron's got more going on. Come on.
It's more in line with Gundam than Voltron, and I think there was a slight nod to Gundam in the newest movie. I don't know if you saw that statue in like
I saw
Japan or Hong Kong. Yeah, I was like, is that a Gundam?
Yeah, it was like 3/4 of the way through the movie when they knocked down Gypsy Avenger. I think it was Gypsy Avenger, and in the background is the Gundam statue just kind of sitting there. And I'm like, oh my God,
giant robots that fight beasts. In this case, this time, Robeasts. That's Voltron. Yeah. That's what it is. And they have a blazing sword. That's Voltron. It could easily be Voltron. And I don't know how Voltron's not a more marketable property than this made-up Pacific Rim thing. I don't get it.
Right.
It's also Rock'em Sock'em Robots. I'd rather see a Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie.
Mainly because it was Guillermo del Toro, I think, is why it was so marketable. And it was so good. I really enjoyed it. It had like this spark, this little, I don't know. I watched it again and I was totally fine with it. The story and the cinematics and the way it looked held up in 2018, and it still looked fine. There was some like depth of field stuff that was a little off, and a little more off in Pacific Rim Uprising, to like the size of these things in comparison of what's in the foreground and what's in the background. Some of that was a little weird and a little wonky, but I kind of forgive it because it is just super cool fighting robots and kaiju. And so the story is like the human race builds these Jaegers, which is huge robot things that are not Voltron, and to fight these kaiju that are coming into our world to terraform the world and take over somehow and all this stuff. And it's
Yep.
like, oh, it's super, it's super basic. Super basic. Let's just get to fighting. I'm super okay with it. It looks pretty. I was okay with it. It was a pretty average watch for me, the very first one. And the second one as well. I think it was an average, like, okay, like if it's on the background, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good action movie. And I mean, just, the overview of
Sure.
the plot of the second one was, after this war, we're living in the shattered world 10 years later that these monsters have created for us, where for some reason they still haven't cleaned up a lot of the places. Maybe people died and they don't want to own the place anymore or whatever. And we're following people who are scrappers, who are, basically stealing parts of these giant Jaegers and building their own Jaegers in secret. Sure. There's a girl, there's Finn from Star Wars. They get caught in Scrapper, the little robot that she built. They get, for some reason, conscripted into the war that isn't happening and hasn't happened for 10 years. And then all of a sudden it's happening. Oh no. Oh. And for anybody who hasn't seen it, I'm not going to spoil the villain, but it's on. And you get big robot battles and you get all this other stuff. I think it was an adequate action movie. I mean,
yeah.
Do we have anything to add before we get out of spoilers? Jules, what else you want to say? Tim, anything?
I think a little bit of an overview about the story, and I do agree with you, Kevin. It was good. It was a good movie. Pacific Rim Uprising was good. It wasn't great. So the one thing that I thought of in the theater, which is a cool analogy, which will probably only cater to a few listeners, one that's pertained to music. So with the very first Pacific Rim, it was played beautifully. It was like an amazing sonata played by the most prolific musician, whatever. Now this second Pacific Rim Uprising, they got all the right notes. They hit all the right notes. It was like, okay, you did some stuff here. You hit all the notes. You got to the end, but you missed that little musicality. You didn't linger on the top note. You didn't do all this other stuff. So Pacific Rim Uprising hit all the right notes. But
so this is the analogy. This is Data from Star Trek: The Next Generation playing the violin. He can do it
sure.
technically, but there's no emotion to it.
There you go.
Wow.
Yes, it lacks the human part of it. So yeah. I don't know. That's pretty much my non-spoiler.
So the word Jaeger, is there a meaning behind that in another language or an acronym or something that I don't know about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they use it in Attack on Titan as well, as the main character. His name's Jaeger, and if you kind of know the name or what it means like giant thing, or I don't know I don't have my computer. I know there is a meaning behind it, meaning like giant something.
All right, because I'll forgive him if that's the case, but why they want to name the robots after a party beverage, an alcoholic party beverage that just gets people hammered? That's all I can think about the whole time. They could have picked another name. It's just, that was my whole thing with both of these movies.
Yeah.
But as many complaints,
in other languages.
As many complaints and annoyances as I have, it was a better than adequate action movie, in my opinion. It was better than Tomb Raider. Yeah. So for the audience who hasn't seen it yet,
for sure,
I'd say check it out, actually.
So the word Jaeger actually comes from German and means hunter.
That's I thought it meant like giant something.
So the alcohol is also
in Japanese.
Well, no, this is where, especially Pacific Rim, they're using Jaeger from the German derivative where it means hunter. So,
oh, okay. Huh.
Yeah, specifically, they stated on the...
Which is why there's a deer on the front of the bottle.
That's right. On the front of Gypsy Jägermeister is that giant deer logo. So, yeah, you're 100% right.
Anyways, that's my thing. That's all I can think about the whole time is Jaeger. But
okay,
whatever.
But yeah, it is. So I would definitely recommend it. That's the full thing. I would definitely go see it, even if you didn't see the first one. I mean, it's not that hard to comprehend.
No.
So
that's one go see it. But Tim, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd say check it out. Why not?
Good. So that's a go see it. If you haven't seen it by this point, stop the podcast now, go see the movie, come back and listen to us.
Well,
We can
don't like run out and go see it. I mean, it's
No,
not that.
but I mean,
No, I mean,
stop the
if you're
podcast.
looking for something to watch,
I don't care what you do then, but stop listening now.
Okay,
because
okay,
We're going to
okay.
get into spoilers. You can go grocery shopping. You can go. I don't care. But eventually see the movie and then come back to us. Don't forget that part of it. Come back to us.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
come back.
So yeah, I mean, now we're getting into spoilers for it. This was, I mean, honestly, I have so many questions for this world. Why do they make any of the decisions that they make?
Oh yeah,
I don't
really.
understand it. I really don't. And I'm not even going to get into the science of how big robots and big creatures would not work because of the time delay between sending signals, and especially
yeah.
creatures like the synapses, it just couldn't be that big. But with the robots, like, I just don't get it. I really don't. Like, why do they have to
figured out that
connect their
technology.
brains?
Their technology is so far beyond our technology, Kevin. Don't try and put your technology on their technology.
Oh,
They just connect to the brains, and it's instantaneous movement. It's connection between the two partners that hardly
it's
ever
not.
comes up unless it's a story,
Right.
something emotional.
I mean,
But
there's plenty of times in the movie where they're moving in sync and the robot's moving with them and they're dancing the robot. And then all of a sudden they'll need this emotional thing. And like one of them will like reach over and grab the other guy, or they'll be doing some other move that's out of sync with everything.
You can turn it off in your brain,
I
Kevin.
guess. And I mean, you're really telling me you didn't have any other pilot in your entire program that you've been running for, more than 10 years. You didn't have anyone else that could go with the Eastwood kid that you already know is compatible with him, that you don't have to conscript this criminal who bounced his way out of your program. Come on. That's bull.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
he's
I
the
don't know.
son of a
Test it.
hero,
He
and
is
his
the son of a
sister
hero.
is involved in the politics of it.
The politics. I think you put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable
Yeah.
there.
No, the right emphasis on the wrong syllable. Okay.
No, but and I
Okay.
get that. But they're at the ceremony and they're getting ready to turn on the drones for protecting the world from nothing. And then this giant Jaeger that no one has ever seen before attacks and destroys their missile system in one go, and then starts attacking Gypsy Avenger, and the helicopter that his sister is in gets knocked out of the sky. And in that moment, because all communication is blocked, she decides she's going to tell them where she saw this Jaeger before. And she sends them a photograph of an island that looks like the head of a monster that they may have fought 10 years ago.
It was a cryptic message that was then
It was a bullshit
uncrypticized.
plot point that they put in so that you could have that moment of confusion when you think you're looking at the head of one of the creatures,
Sure.
at one of the kaiju. And I think that that's bullshit lazy writing. Why wouldn't she just send a text that had the name of the island? How does she have a picture of this island? You're really telling me you put a secret base to study these kaiju on an island chain that looks like a kaiju? That's just some super villainy right there. You're asking.
That's amazing.
That's some Dr. Evil stuff right there.
It really is. I mean, and honestly, you've got people who are stealing parts of your Jaegers in major cities, and you've got a secret base on an island that is unguarded for 10 years. No, there's got to be someone there. There's got to be
Doesn't
something.
work that way.
Sure. So,
Yeah.
And then they show up and suddenly know the name of the big Jaeger that was fighting them, Obsidian Fury. I
They
didn't
just
hear
named it that.
They didn't just name it that. That was its name, apparently. And why would you
No,
just
they said it. They said it before. Because they name kaiju that way. They're just like, we're gonna name this kaiju whatever, and
It's
they
kind of how
said
they
it a
name
little bit
dinosaurs.
before.
It's just bull.
Yeah.
Somebody digs up a dinosaur and they just get to name it.
Oh yeah, like
It's true.
They showed a news clip and it was like, there, people are calling it Obsidian Fury or whatever. So I think it was made by the fans, the fans of Jaegers. They're like,
great.
oh, this is cool. there's a fandom behind Obsidian Fury that just made up the name, so that's better, maybe.
So if we're gonna get into the technology of all this, because I wanted to rewatch the first Pacific Rim leading into this, but didn't want to pay to watch it, and I don't own it, and didn't want to pirate it. So Jules, you watched it more recently. Am I misremembering, or wasn't there a lot of stuff in there about compatibility of the two pilots and all that kind of stuff? Wasn't that like a big thing?
Yes.
Yeah,
It was kind of like Avatar, right? Where you had to get the twin brother to come and connect because of his, whatever.
Sure.
So they made a lot of thing about the compatibility, and then so that's a good enough reason why you have to bring back Finn to pilot this thing with Clint Eastwood's kid. But then everybody else just kind of jumps in with each other, and there's really there's no struggle for compatibility or anything like that. So they kind of just threw all that out the window, and that was a big part of the first movie.
That was part of the sparkle that I was saying that it missed, and it was a misstep, because I think Del Toro definitely put a lot of emphasis on that and the connection, because it was supposed to be more human, and that very first movie is definitely more human. Even going to what I wanted to talk about was like making it seem more real, with more action shots of people running away and people in distress and those new stuff. That all made it very human, and that compatibility definitely helped that. In this movie, it just seemed like you can either play it off as, the technology is super advanced, so you don't need to be as compatible, but whatever, that's the way to do it. But it lacked in that. It lacked in that humanness where you had to be in sync with one person. That's what I really liked about being inside a Jaeger in the first place, is that you and another person are one in that that time, and you completely trust each other.
And I get that they had to kind of ignore it in this movie because it would have hindered the story. And you'd never want a plot point like that to hinder the story, especially in something like this where you can explain it away. But they didn't. If they had a moment where they just said, listen, not only has it been 10 years and technology's gotten a little bit better, so we can kind of compensate for some of that drift, but we've also been training these younger kids to be more compatible with everybody around them. So all of them are thinking in the same thought frame or whatever to keep it together. That would have made so much more sense to me. Like that,
except the new girl just jumps in and can pair up with whoever she wants.
Well, yeah, no, and that's exactly my point. But at least you could have explained that if they had a worse connection with her than with other people, because she wasn't in that same mindset. But I mean, there was nothing that addressed that, and that is a problem.
Sure.
Every time we say it's been 10 years, I think about the Friends episode where Joey's talking about this part that he wants to get, and he knows the movie's going to be good because the plot is, I saw this old lady, and they say, that old lady's been dead for 10 years. And so every time I want to say it like that, it's been 10 years.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
A little aside there. So let's once we're talking about the relationships with each other, let's talk about, we've got Finn is here, and we've got his relationship with the girl, and you've got his relationship with Clint Eastwood's kid.
Yep.
Do we like? Does this work? Do we like these?
I still don't understand his relationship with Clint Eastwood's kid. I really don't.
No, there was a lot that they didn't say, and a lot of unspoken stuff to where it was like, you could have shown like maybe a flashback or two inside their head when they were working together, maybe.
Right.
But they just got like
vessel to do that.
Sure, yeah. You can say like, oh, they used to ride together. They used to be in a Jaeger together. They trained. He knew me as well when I was growing up, not just Mako. Like,
right.
100%.
Yeah.
I never would have thought of that. Jules, you dead?
Hello?
Hi.
Yeah, you cut out for about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I was talking, but I'm good.
That's fine. But I mean,
there was one last thunderclap.
You're right. Like they had so many moments where they went into each other's memories that we could have had that. We could have explored that a little bit more, but we didn't. Instead, we got, Charlie Day as the bad guy, which I actually loved.
Oh my God, that was great.
But his plot made no sense to me. Like, I love the thought that he drifted with the alien brain. I love the thought that that infected him. I don't know how and why the precursors would be in his brain if the kaiju brain was what he drifted with. How does he know as much about them if the kaiju are just big dumb animals they bred for war, and that's what he's drifting with? Is he in communication with the original aliens, or is he not? Like, is he talking to them? I couldn't figure that out, because if yes, then tell me that, and it explains so much. It also explains why at the end of the movie they threaten and say, "Well, tell them we're coming for them," because then they'll know we're coming for them. They may not even exist. If he is not in communication with them, they may all be dead. We may have blown them all up in the last movie. We might open the breach and find just a bunch of random kaiju around, and that's it. We may not.
There is a lot of unexplained stuff. And they played this whole game with the main character. They played this whole game of, I've got a lot of backstory, and we're going to tell you and hint right off the bat that I've got a lot of backstory,
right?
But I'm going to be reclusive and not tell you any of it until I'm absolutely forced to at every turn. And I will reveal it to you piece by piece, and you will get to it that way, because that will make the movie go along.
I mean, I absolutely loved the fact that the woman that Charlie Day was working for was not a bad guy. I thought that was amazing. I could not get over that, because she was she became spectacular in this movie.
Oh, yeah. She did, and I did not expect Charlie Day to turn that way. And whenever he's like, "Oh, you got to meet Alice or whatever, you got to come over for dinner," I was like, "Oh, it's just Charlie. It's just Charlie. Hey, we're having a good time." But he definitely played on that. He played on how all the characters in the movie saw him that way.
Right.
And going to your point, I think maybe he really did love the kaiju during the first movie, and whenever he got that first hit of kaiju with like an adrenaline rush and all this stuff. And I definitely think that's coincides with something that like an addict would have after they did a drug or something like that. And I think just because he really loved the kaiju, it was amplified like 10 times, so he just wanted to keep doing it and doing it. So he eventually did, and I don't know what he's connected to. It could have, I don't know. It's really interesting.
I want
the
more
way they did that. Yeah.
Like I want to figure that out.
I feel like the kaiju are connected to the precursors neurologically in some way. I feel like a lot of
one hive mind
things that we see.
Yeah. I mean, does that hive mind cross dimensions without the breach? That's the question.
Yeah, because why not? Because the movie, Kevin. Why do I have to keep saying this? Because the movie. Can we talk about the fact, though, that he had a sexual relationship with a brain in a tube?
Right? It's kind of weird.
Yeah, kind of weird.
Okay.
That part freaked me out. When he got home and his girlfriend is the brain, and then he sits down and straps in and starts having, I don't know what you want to call it. And then we never see the thing again. That's the other thing. No. Then it's gone. That was it. Like 5 seconds, boom, done. But he was also okay with introducing her to the other guy. That just kind of shows how crazy he was. It was weird.
I think he knew that the other guy would never come to his place.
That's a big gamble.
Maybe. Yeah.
It's a big gamble, because he extended the fight.
He did, but he knew. He knew that Gorman there would never come to his place. Never.
Or he would have killed him right there. He was trying to kill him. He was trying to get rid of him, his competition.
I don't know. It was weird. That whole thing was weird.
But yeah, that whole storyline with him actually the main antagonist, and it was just like, holy crap, that threw me for a loop, and that instantly made me get into the movie like 10% more, because I was like, okay, I want to see him. He rolled up his sleeves, he had his tattoos, and I was like, all right, I feel this. It was super nice.
But you know what? The other side of it, though, is just like every other weird supervillain plot, I don't buy it. Like, if your goal is to bring these kaiju through so that they can go to Mount Fuji and explode like rare earth metals and stuff, you've shown us that you have the ability to grow kaiju flesh here. Just build it in a warehouse and fly it in a helicopter. No one ever has to know that there's a breach.
Yep.
You can just explode the world that way. It's fine.
But then where's the battle going to happen?
There doesn't have to be a battle. If the bad guys want to win, they don't have to do it in this flashy, showy.
He
We're all
could-
going to
yeah.
meet in
Stupidest thing I've
Tokyo.
ever heard.
If
That's
Kevin
the
was a bad
stupidest thing
guy,
I've ever heard.
I would.
he would
If
be
I
the
was a
most
bad guy, I would
efficient
win.
bad guy.
Kevin would win.
I would.
Yeah, he was both a terrible bad guy and a great bad guy at the same time because the plan is stupid, but he's such a lunatic and it's so unsuspected that it was really a great twist. Because Charlie Day is just a lovable little guy. So you don't expect him to be this diabolical, well, possessed being, I guess. So it was a really fun twist, and he does play a really good lunatic. I like that quite a bit.
Yeah, he played it really well. And yeah, efficiency. Come on, bad guys, you got to get more efficient with your plans. I definitely want to talk about that ending because we kind of did touch on it about the active volcano rare earth metals. Wouldn't that giant Category 5 kaiju just simply walking on it activate it? Wouldn't that descent from the heavens crashing into it, wouldn't that activate it as well? Like
No,
okay.
no, the rare
I'm just
metals are
crazy.
They're
inside
the
I know,
lava.
but it's
deep.
still active. Like that
But-
whole place is active. Wouldn't it shatter something to make
But
it
this-
No,
just erupt?
No, this gives us time to go out there with hoses and like hose down the mountain before the lava
Mhm.
gets there.
Oh,
This
nice.
was all
Okay.
just about buying us time. Like when Gypsy Avenger flew up into the sky for some reason and then came back down and had the hole in the faceplate, and you're watching as all of the parts of this are just being hit by atmosphere and becoming red hot on entry, and yet the people who are in it unprotected are fine. Like that was completely
yeah.
believable and definitely something that would happen.
I'm really thinking that kind of like the Kingsman, this movie missed the opportunity to partner with Jägermeister to come out with the gypsy
Oh my
Avenger
God.
variation of the beverage. That
Right?
you really missed. But speaking of the Kingsman, what did you?
Okay.
How did you guys feel about John Boyega? How do you say his last name?
Boyega.
Boyega. How do you feel about him with his real British accent? And is that his real British accent? Or was this a little bit more kind of, I was expecting a few bruvs. I really was disappointed that there was no bruvs in it.
No, bruv. Stop.
No, bruv.
Stop trying to make it a thing.
It's not a thing. Did you ever see Attack the Block, Tim, with John Boyega?
No.
Jules, have you ever seen it?
No, I haven't.
Okay, you two haven't lived. That is your homework for next week. You need to see Attack the Block
Attack
at
the
some
Block. Where
point
can I
before
watch it?
next week. I don't know. I think it's on Netflix, but maybe not.
Okay.
But you need to watch this. This is one of John Boyega's first movies. He is a little street level thug who gets caught up in an alien invasion. It was the precursor to this, and it was spectacular. So I
Wow.
buy it. I mean, this was just a continuation of that character. I love his accent. I think he's super cute. I thought he was really believable in this. I thought, especially when he sort of leaned into the whole, like, I got to save the world aspect of it. You
Right.
could just see him like becoming a man right in front of your eyes. It was
Sure.
really awesome.
He did street up his accent though, right? Because I think I've heard him in interviews in real life, and he's a little more polished British than this was. So that was an interesting choice, I think. I don't know why he's urban English, where he
Well,
apparently
I
lived
mean,
in California. It was weird.
yeah, okay.
But I don't know. I dug it. It was weird though, because you see Finn and he's kind of clean cut and everything. And then this guy, for whatever reason, looks like he could either be a Def Jam comic from 1994 or be an NWA. Just like the hairstyle, everything. Like they went back in time with his look to Street Thug circa 1994. I don't know where that choice came from. There was odd choices in this movie, kind of all around.
Definitely. They were trying to blend, I think, the aspect that the entire world is kind of working together and the entire world got attacked together, and the blending of culture throughout this whole thing was a little interesting, and interesting choices, like you said, Tim. I think definitely because of this idea that everybody's trying to work together. All these cultures are kind of blending even more than they already are, and then we get some random haircut here, some stylistic city choice here, and it I don't know if it added or hindered the movie, but it was really cool to see up close and personal.
Yeah, it was. The whole thing was just kind of all over the place. But we talked about this with Tomb Raider last week. Action movies, you go in knowing that there's going to be plot holes, there's going to be stuff that doesn't make sense, there's going to be things that happen that would never really happen. Is the action good enough, and are you engaged enough with the characters? And even as clumsily as they got about connecting us with some of these characters, I liked them in the end, and I rooted for them, and I rooted for their teaming up and their partnerships, and it was way more enjoyable than just a run-of-the-mill action movie. It was above average, which I like.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I loved some of the action scenes when they're fighting the three monsters in Tokyo. It had that feel of like the 1990s, Power Rangers or any of those. They did some like tilt shift with the camera or something to make the buildings look like models. And when they had the orange one just sort of running between the buildings, it was a moment where I was just like, holy crap, this is awesome.
Yeah.
The buildings were made of like cardboard. You could see just the way that they fell over. That scene where they're just pulling building after building down on the kaiju. It's like, when are you going to stop? First off, you're killing millions of people. Yeah,
I know, that's kind of ridiculous.
No, they're underground.
No, I get that guy said that they were all safe, but we actually just saw the pod close and leave hundreds of people outside of the pod. So
hundreds, not millions, though.
No. Okay, yeah, but that was in one spot. You've got people in hospitals. You got people asleep. You got people who were in, there's so many people that are not safe.
It was definitely like the Superman thing where everybody just kind of went destructo. Like, this is kind of what it was. I think if Guillermo del Toro would have done this movie, there would have been more shots of the crowd and the people, just kind of running or frantic or something like that. That's what I think it was missing, that human part of it. But
I think this was in response to the Batman thing or Superman thing. I think that's why they had that line of everyone's safe, because they didn't want to have that moment where they're like, oh, by the way, Superman murdered 70,000 people.
It's still millions of dollars of
Metropolis
destruction.
Well, yeah, but you know what? We'll survive. We're still rebuilding from 10 years. This is just jobs. It's just infrastructure jobs.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, they just created the economy in that city for who knows how long.
That's exactly right.
And that huge wall that wasn't
knocked down that
anything.
Wall. That's right.
I kind of want to talk about something that, I really, like we've been saying, it's an above average action movie. For me, the pacing was kind of all over the place. It didn't really flow the greatest. Somewhere in the middle, there were so many mixes of, oh, this is action. Oh, this is kind of funny. Oh, this is whatever. Kind of what like Black Panther, what we talked about a little while back, that it was kind of mixed paced, and I think that's what happened here, and it definitely didn't fare well. There were so many different mixes of what they were trying to do. Here's an emotional scene really quick, and then, oh, here's some joke, and it's like, oh, am I supposed to laugh at that? That was right after an emotional scene, so there was a lot of mixed pacing in between the movie.
One that sticks out for me is when Finn went to go get ice cream, or
I was just going to say that,
because he goes to the fridge and he grabs a thing of whipped cream and some sprinkles.
Yeah.
And then Scott comes in and he's like, "Oh, by the way, ice cream's on the top shelf." And Finn goes, "Oh, good idea." He was gonna whip hit. He was definitely gonna inhale that CO2.
With toppings. Don't mess with me toppings, man. Don't mess with me toppings.
Oh God.
What was that all about? He's He's like taking Rainbow Jimmies out of the jar in his bare hands. Who does that? What monster uses his bare hands?
No, seriously.
Everybody.
Just nasty. If you want to pour them in your mouth, that's different. It's still disgusting, but that's different. Why are you putting your hand in the jar?
It's like double dipping a chip. You just don't do it. And put them back. Now, if you're going to take that back into your barracks and you're just going to, drink them all night long, that's fine. But you're putting that back on the shelf with your hands just having been in them. And who eats an ice cream like he takes that scoop and he throws it in his mouth so hard that there's part on his lip and the metal hit his tooth. It was a sound effect. It was the whole ice cream thing was very peculiar.
And then he left it out.
He did. He just left it there. So it's clumsy. I think, Jules, you said the pacing was odd. Like everything they did was just kind of a little clumsy, and even that interaction, like they're trying to establish their relationship and their backstory, and it's just clumsy. They got there somehow against all odds. against all
Stumbling,
odds, they got
shambling.
there. Yeah. But it was very clumsy the whole way. And an observation on Scott Eastwood. I know he's Clint Eastwood's kid. And if you look at him, like in the eyes and the cheekbones, you're like, yeah, that's young Clint Eastwood. But the way he talks, he could be Kurt Russell's kid.
Okay, I can see that.
The
Or
whole
hear that.
time I'm
Yeah.
hearing him, I'm like, who talks exactly like another person who he's not related to? Who does? That's really weird.
Uh-oh.
Not starting anything here. Not
Just
starting anything. By
starting
the way,
rumors.
also, if you would indulge me for a moment, I'd just like to read the beginning of Scott Eastwood's bio on IMDb.
please.
I
Please
find
do.
it humorous. Scott Eastwood was born Scott Clinton Reeves in Carmel, Monterey County, California, to Jacqueline Ann Reeves, a flight attendant, and Clint Eastwood, an actor and director. Thanks for telling
Wow.
me who, like, he's an actor and director. Just some, in case you guys
Super
didn't know,
modest.
this guy Clint Eastwood is an actor and director.
Oh, I
You may
hadn't
have
heard.
heard of it. It's possible. But I love how
Some
also
nobody.
he goes and changes his name. Like he was born
Yep.
Scott Reeves because his mom named him after her last name. And unlike, let's say, Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell's daughter, right? Who wants to go by a different name so she can make her own way. He's like, maybe I should change my name to Eastwood so I can get in the movies. Like that's a little on the nose, man. Like just come on, have a little bit of you think you can make it on your own kind of thing going on. Jeez, I'm gonna change my name to my dad's name so people will put me in the movies. Anyways,
Yeah. Too funny.
Yeah, I mean, we already said it. Definitely go see it if you haven't, and you don't need to watch the first Pacific Rim. Even though I do think the very first one was a lot better than this one, it's okay. I mean, it hits all the right notes. It was fun. I had a good time sitting there watching it. The story is pretty cool. The twist with the bad guy Charlie Day, it's all enjoyable. So it's not like a Tomb Raider, so that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. So, anything else we need to add before we rate this and wrap up?
let's rate it.
Let's rate it.
Yeah. So before,
right.
like yesterday, I did all the ratings, so I have that right now. So, the final one was a 7.4.
Whoa.
I
How'd you get
don't
that?
have. I can't pull it up right now. Yeah, my internet, whatever. But yeah, so
You didn't
we
like
do
save it
on.
on notes on your phone or something? Like where did you write this down? In the cloud?
I'd rather not get out of
You'd rather
this
not
right
say.
here because yeah, this is
Okay.
gold right now, and I can hear
Okay.
y'all, so I'm fine.
There you go.
But yeah, I remember it was 7.4. I got a 7.4. I rated all of them either an 8 or a 7.
Wow. What about you, Tim?
Nerdytainment, all that other stuff.
Well, I gave Nerdytainment a 6, one notch above watchable. It was definitely, an enjoyable experience.
Yep.
Acting and directing, I gave a 5. Acting
Okay.
better than directing, but it was, it was passable. The story was a 3.5. It was kind of a mess. I don't know how it got us involved in the end, but somehow it got there, but definitely not on purpose. Low marks. The visuals were great, 8.5. I mean, the special effects were good. It was the right amount of, as Kevin pointed out, kind of camp in the visuals. It wasn't supposed to be perfect, but the robots looked great. Mount Fuji and all of the landscape looked amazing. So I give that an 8.5, which overall put me at a 5.8, which is a watchable, perfectly watchable action movie.
See, I kind of forgave the story. Like, I mean, it makes sense enough. Like, it's not that it's bad. It's just that it's really shallow.
See, I give the
You know what I mean?
Nerdytainment on that an 8. I give the acting and directing a 6, the story a 6, and the visuals an 8. So I come out with a 7.2.
Because
Cool.
Kevin always rates movies highly.
I love
Well,
it.
mine was the highest one, 7.4.
Yeah,
No, I know.
Jules-
It's
Jules
just, it's
beat me.
funny. It's funny to me that in this, I think it happened, basically it happened last week, but Kevin and I will oftentimes say the exact same thing about a movie, but rate them very differently. Like we'll
Yes.
say exactly, like we basically share an opinion, but rate them on a totally different scale somehow. It's
I
just
like to think I'm critical but forgiving.
Oh,
got a heart of gold, Kev.
So yeah, that's our thoughts on Pacific Rim Uprising. If you want to talk about the movie, if you want to talk about any movies or anything like that, we are always available at Nerdy Things Pod. That's Nerdy Things POD on all social media. Oh, I don't have my script in front of me. NerdyThingsPod.com is where you can find all of our merch for T-shirts and more. We have some new designs coming out. The Wi-Fi
spring
minimalist,
collection.
the spring collection is coming out. 3 new designs. And if you get it within the first 3 days, they're like 20% off or something. So they're super cheap. We'll be letting you know online. We'll be letting patrons know first about when they go up, but expect that in the next day or so. So we have some new merch coming out, as well as all the old designs that you can find on, sweatshirts, t-shirts, anything. Kevin's wearing one right now. So you can get all that on our merch. We also have links to our YouTube for videos. We do these podcasts in video. Well, half of the podcast is going to be me there, but usually
we'll
I'm there
fix
the
that.
whole time. Yeah, we'll figure that out. Just grab a picture of me. But yeah, we do these in videos and we post them on YouTube. So go like and subscribe on our YouTube channel if you are just an audio listener. And we have links to our Patreon for bloopers and early access to our stuff. You can find all that nerdythingspod.com, and you go to the Patreon section, and for only $1 a month, you get the podcast a day earlier than anybody else. You get exclusive content. You'll be getting my video of the storm that was raging outside that hindered me from the podcast a little bit. So you get a bunch of stuff over there on our Patreon, and you can leave us a voicemail finally, 978-78-NERDY. That's 978-786-3739. That's
Perfect.
the number. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I got it right. Yay. Okay. Yeah, we would like voicemails, texts. Thank you to, what did I say her name was? Garfield at the beginning, for Lady Garfield, for leaving us a voicemail this week. I mean, we definitely want some more of that. I'd like to thank Adipsia for the use of his song, Friends and Only Friends. Go to TGI Fridays. You can hear more of his music at adipsia.bandcamp.com. And he just released an album called Imbue.
Imbue.
And I would like to thank the Bell Curve for the music we use under the main topic. All right. Thanks, everyone.
All right. See you later.
Later.
Bye.
I love cheap thrills.
Oh, God.